Hi folks, how are you? Well, as promised, I did say I was going to do something on binge eating, didn't I? And I thought instead of writing a post, I'd talk to you about it instead. So on my nutritionist course, we had a lecture on eating disorders from Ursula Philpott. Now, we were very lucky actually. She is sort of the UK's leader on it, and she's been on TV programmes and things like that. And she went through eating disorders with us. Now, eating disorders can be caused by many things. They can be psychologically related. They cover a lot of areas: psychological, medical, physiological, which is your body, neurological, which is your brain, and also nutrition related as well. And there are many different types of eating disorder. So we've got the ones we know: anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, one which you may not be that familiar with, which is called avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, ARFID, diabulimia, and binge eating, which is what I'm going to talk about today. Now, the reason I am focusing on binge eating is because hot off the press is a paper, February 2021, that has done a study on type 2 diabetes and binge eating disorder. Okay, so I thought that was quite apt. Now, eating disorders can be caused by a lot of things. It can be adverse childhood experiences. Sorry, adverse childhood experiences, family attitudes towards food and weight, low self-esteem, perfectionism, high achievers because they strive to be perfect all the time. So there's a lot of reasons why people have eating disorders, and we need to be really mindful of that. And people with diabetes, I'm afraid, are more likely to have an eating disorder, but I'll talk about that in a minute, just here with this article. So let's talk about binge eating disorder, or as it's called, BED. Now, you've probably seen, and I'll try and splice the diagram into this video, this call to binge eating. It usually starts with feeling deprived, an overwhelming urge to eat, you binge, you then feel out of control and ashamed afterwards, and then you diet to gain control. But this isn't about pigging out. This is about something else. These cycles are usually driven by being alone, feeling vulnerable, stress, anxiety. And this cycle is usually done in secret. So quite often the eating will be done in an evening when someone's out. It's hidden from other people. And also you may not eat much at normal meal times, but then when people aren't there, you will do. So that's a basic overview of binge eating disorder, but I thought it'd be interesting for me to run through this abstract, the results of this study. So in this study, and I've got the paper here, that's why I'm reading from it, they did a review of binge eating disorder and type 2 diabetes. And the conclusion, so what they did, the results, the prevalence of BED in patients with type 2 diabetes appears to be much higher than the 2% to 3.5% prevalence seen in general population. Studies suggest that up to 20% of patients with type 2 diabetes have an underlying eating disorder, the most common of which is binge eating. BED is probably underdiagnosed, and I think I'd agree there, because I think some people who binge eating is it's used for wide things. Binging is used for when you have a bit of a pig out on a Saturday night, isn't it? But that's not necessarily driven by psychological issues. That's just because you're being a bit of a glutton. And people use the word binge for that, don't they? But binge eating disorder is something very, very different from that. It's psychological. and can be caused by psychological things. So bed is probably underdiagnosed, even though there are multiple simple tools that providers can use to improve screening for the disorder. Through the relationship between bed and hemoglobin A1C control can vary, it appears that binge eating behaviours can worsen metabolic markers, including glycemic control. So to jump in there, if you do think, and I'll say this, if you do think that you maybe have bed, drop me a line and I can put you in touch with people that will help, okay? Because as it says there, trying to control your metabolic markers and your glycemic control will be a lot harder while you've got bed. Various medications used by patients with diabetes have been associated with new onset bed, and treatment may be as simple as removing or replacing such agents. I will do a separate article on that because in this paper it goes in to the different medications, okay? So I'll do a separate session on this next week. Patients with bed generally benefit from psychotherapy, including cognitive behaviour therapy, which we learnt actually from Ursula that the treatments for bed aren't what you'd expect. It's actually not eat more, but have frequent meals, spread your food throughout the day, monitor your hunger levels, but don't restrict your eating. Eat in a, have several meals a day. Like I've said in my article a few days ago to you guys, I am not the answer for you if you've got bed. It needs to be someone like me, a psychologist, and all those things together to deliver you the things you need to help go forward. Oh, excuse me. So that's like quite sobering, that is, isn't it? And you're probably thinking, oh God, she's not a usual bouncy self, is she? But I just wanted to go through that with you because, like I say, this is hot off the press, this article or this scientific study. And it was only released in December 2020, so the findings are very new. And like I said, I will go through this article in detail. I've only just downloaded it, actually. Well, I've actually bought it. I've had to buy it. Bought the article. And I will go through it with a fine-tooth comb, especially around the medications and what they're saying about the medications. And then you can have a chat with your doctor if you think you've got bed and you're taking some of these medications. All right then, folks. Well, I hope that was interesting. Like I say, if you think you are suffering from an eating disorder, then get in touch with me and I can put you on to someone who will help, okay? I can point you in the right direction. That help probably won't be me, but I can help you, point you in the right direction of someone who can help you. All right, so do comment. Let me know whether this was interesting. Like I say, I know I'm not a bit bouncy today, but this is quite a serious subject, isn't it? But let me know what you think, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.